And the issue I chose is the correlation between increasing housing prices and homelessness as a result of hurricanes in Florida. My first point is Hurricane King and Hurricane Donna. Hurricane King was the first devastating hurricane to hit in the Miami area since 1926, causing roughly $32 million in damage. Overall, 20,869 homes were damaged, causing severe displacement. Hurricane Donna had a similar impact on the Florida Keys area, and in the graph, even though this is not like housing increased prices as a result of Hurricane Donna, this does still show the increase in housing prices in the Keys after 2017 Irma, 2022 Ian, and 2023 Idalia, showing a very evident increase in housing prices as they gone up in Florida, while most likely having the price go up as a result of damage from hurricanes. And so these price increases pose a serious threat to the already vulnerable individuals who lost their homes, but now have to struggle to find a replacement home, which is most likely going to be more expensive than their previous house, while also adding the bills of fixing their home on top of making it nearly impossible for them to find somewhere to stay while they're getting their home rebuilt or having the funds to be able to do that. And so these two hurricanes are good examples of how damage was a big issue back in the 1950s, 1960s, and how these storms were not as strong as the ones we have today, making today's hurricanes even harder to recover from. My next point is Hurricane Katrina, and even though Hurricane Katrina barely skimmed Florida, in the picture you can kind of see it just hit the South Florida. And while it didn't hit Florida directly on, it still caused serious damage, and this kind of shows the pattern of people being displaced and houses being damaged, as the state of Florida always has the struggle of getting ready for hurricanes and after the hurricanes, trying to set up enough shelter and financial aid for those who need it, even though they are very picky about who gets financial aid. So my next point is the Politico article. And so this article was about how Florida had $900 million to give the aid storm victims, but waited to distribute it due to internal government issues, leaving many without aid or a place to go, leaving many homes to sit as uninhabitable since they couldn't get the money to fix it, causing housing inflammation in Panama City post-Hurricane Hermine, Matthew, and Irma, and just Florida in general. And this is Irma being connected to the event, as this map shows the rainfall from Hurricane Irma, kind of just giving a visual of how extensive the damage was from flooding, just flooding, not, taking into account wind damage and tree falling damage, other damage that causes people to lose their homes than just flooding. And so this is like an issue because it took over a year for those who needed the financial aid to get the aid after these hurricanes, leaving them with really nowhere to go, nothing to do, no money to fix their house, causing issues with the housing market because people were trying to find places to stay, but they couldn't fix their houses yet, leaving them as uninhabitable. My next point is Hurricane Ian. And so in the graph on the right, you can't really see it super well, but this dotted line is Hurricane Ian when it hit. And so it shows the reduction in housing listings as a result of housing price increases. So less people were moving, and it caused a decrease in home building as many of the resources for construction were going towards rebuilding homes, causing an issue with people trying to find housing. And again, with the pattern of people being homeless and having issues trying to find places to live because they don't have the money to either get a hotel room for months on end while their house is getting fixed, or they don't have the resources or the financial aid from the government to be able to rebuild their house. My last point is the Florida encampment ban and how it's linked to Hurricane Milton. So this law passed just days before Hurricane Milton made landfall, and it was a ban that made it so people could not sleep in public areas after the hurricane warnings and stuff that they placed on the state while the hurricane is in effect was lifted. So they could not find anywhere to live, anywhere to sleep, and it caused a major issue as many people were literally left with nowhere to go because they couldn't afford a hotel and they weren't legally allowed to sleep in their cars or place a tent outside in the public area or outside of their home. And so this raised a very major consideration of how are we treating our individuals who are vulnerable post-hurricane, as many of them were taken and arrested just because they were trying to live in public in a tent or in their car, which was what was banned as a result from the Florida encampment ban. And so overall, there's a very strong pattern of hurricane hits Florida, lots of housing damage, people being displaced, housing prices increasing due to demand, and as a result of all of this, the government being very picky about who gets financial aid, and this all building up to a long-term homelessness or displacement issue as people cannot get the financial aid from the government because they don't meet the requirements, or other issues related to that, leading it to people not being able to have a home. And so my question for further research is there some kind of policy or consideration that the government could place or work on in Florida to help people be able to apply for financial aid easier or be able to meet the requirements easier? Or is there some kind of a way that they can set up shelter easier so that people can have a place to live while getting back on their feet?